I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase a bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything. If I can see my dreams, I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality. Don't let go. Don't let go. I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality.
I just wanna find a way out, sick of the venom in my brain. Running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this. I just wanna break these chains. Always asking for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once that I so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started the outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting life. If I can see my dream, make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything, what I want a reality. I'll give up everything, daunting life. If I can see my dreams, make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality. Don't let go. Don't let go. I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I want a reality.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Mr. Z is busted up and cracking up. He's redder than Mr. Clark's mic sitting there in the corner. Are you okay, Mr. Z? Are you going to be able to breathe? Come on, do it with me.
Mr. Clark was doing the Monet dance.
He was into the opening theme music because we got some great theme music there, the itch. Because we definitely have an itch to talk about professional wrestling. And boy, oh boy, are we going to talk about it tonight. This is the Value of Wrestling. This is the Weekly Roundup, episode 60. 60 episodes of the Weekly Roundup, gentlemen. Imagine that. It's a special edition because it's coming to you Saturday night because tomorrow is Sunday, October 20th. And the biggest event in SPW this year is taking place tomorrow night. Ghouls, Frights, and Wrestling Tights. The Soccer World Indoor Arena, Elk Grove, California. You need to be there. Because we're going to be there. You should be there. No, there's no question about it. You should be there. It's just a fact. Get in your car. Be there. If you're not there, you're going to mess out. I guarantee. One of the biggest names in the independent scene who's already making waves in AEW television is going to be defending SPW championship. Why wouldn't you want to come see this man on the ground floor? Just like we told you months and months ago to join the Value Wrestling on the ground floor. Because we were going to shake up the IWC. And we're doing that in big, big ways. And there is so much more amazing stuff to come right here with the Value of Wrestling. It's the three-man power trip. Introducing first the one and only man behind the tasty toast himself, the master of New Japan Pro Wrestling knowledge, the legend of his own mind. Make sure you hide the whipped cream and the chocolate syrup, Mr. Z. And of course, the man behind all the magic right here at the Value Wrestling, who keeps a lot of the back scenes going, the master with the camera, the secret agent man to some, and the Monet dancing fool. He likes his dance revolution, the one and only Mr. Paulus Clark. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Now that he's frozen And of course, you know me. I'm the voice that is here that keeps it all going. I'm the big time. And without all three of us, I don't know where we'd be. It'd be an interesting show. But anyways, welcome to the Value Wrestling. Welcome to the weekly roundup. Gentlemen, how are you feeling about this week in professional wrestling?
Go ahead, Mr. Clark.
It's been a week.
Oh, believe that. Mr. Z, I know you got to have a lot to say about this week because you went to a live wrestling show and walked out feeling like you went through an 8-hour teleconference or an 8-hour TED talk on, I don't know, how to be a better productive worker. I don't know. But anywho, what do you have to say about this week in professional wrestling?
Only disappointment I've had, they didn't show Time Cop. Okay,
That's
He
because
promotes it so much. I wanted to see Time Cop.
That's because you went to the bathroom during the time cop break. They played it on fast mode, like 10 speed. So it was like, you know. And speaking of that, it's, ladies and gentlemen, we can't wait to see who's next to step up and sign their name, to etch their name into the Forever Hall of Fame of the Choppy World Tour. Who's going to be next? Who's going to step up? Oh, I guess he wants Switchblade Jay White to, as he's showing off his shirt. Jay White, if you want to come show up and chop down the Big Sequoia, because the Redwood's already taken, so we'll just call you the Big Sequoia, Mr. Z. We got a tree that you can choppy all day if you want to. He's always ready.
It's not Gunther, we're good.
He wants Gunther too. It's fine. Gunther, Jacob Fatu, J.R. Kratos, the Stoner Brothers of Hood Slam. Something about Haku was mentioned at one time. I mean, why not? Let's get Haku.
I never said that. How dare you, sir? I never said that. I want to live. I need to live.
All right. We'll worry more about the machine gun chops of Eddie Kingston.
Oh, see, Mom will gladly film that for her
Yes.
own pleasure. But
Yes, he's gonna take those to make the wife happy, because that's just, you know, it written in stone. Eddie Kingston. It's, yeah. And hey, we can't ever forget about Mrs. Z and all of that she does to help support this channel behind the scenes. So make sure we send lots of love to Mrs. Z and her appreciation for everything she does that goes on behind the scenes. Anyways. What about the Murder Grandpa? After he wrestles the Sexy Grandpa, the Murder Grandpa can murder chop you.
Well, they're gonna have a chop off? Him and Sexy Grandpa? They're gonna have a chop
There
off?
you go. You could, yeah, we could stand you in the middle of the ring and let you have, you know, they could chop all night long, and then we can sing Suzuki Has a Gun. Who pissed him off this time?
They're going to chop all night long.
What did Tony Khan do? It's gonna be a chop party. Anyways. Hey,
Well,
Mr.
Super chop.
It's a super chop party.
The only thing I was disappointed about is the fact that the Young Bucks were there on Wednesday, but no Brandon Cutler. Did he catch wind that Marty might have been around the corner somewhere? That he might have shown up?
I don't know, but we'll get into what happened at AEW Dynamite this week. We'll talk a little bit about the Collision this week that is airing now on TV. If you haven't caught it, you can go catch it. But hey, watch this first, then go watch that, because it wasn't very interesting, and it was an empty building from what I understand. But we're going to talk about Mr. Z's favorite AEW star, his big name, the one that's making a lot of interesting, a lot of videos are coming out about this man. They're circulating the internet because we're going to talk about Casting Couch. Hi, guys. And his band Fozzy performing in front of 12 people at what many people are saying was a low-attended concert in Germany at the Gramercy Theater, but what has also been reported as a VIP experience, that these were the fans who paid for a VIP experience. They were down for the pre-sound check, but a lot of people seem to be selling this as the actual concert. and this was the number of people who showed up for a Fonzie concert. It's debatable, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people in this little crowd. Listen to Fonzie. I have to assume it was a VIP experience. What about Sean Spears?
10.
Well, you said there was 10 people.
No.
Oh, there was 10. 10.
Anyways, I don't know if this was really an attendance. I would assume this is probably more of a VIP experience, but again, I guess you could also use that as cover to make it sound better. But yeah, interesting video footage making its rounds, Mr. Clark.
And as someone who's been, well, not with bands, but with rappers who have done sound check, I'm more likely to buy the sound check bit than I am that Fozzy only drew 10 people, even as a VIP thing. Come on now.
Yeah, well, no, it was part of the VIP experience.
I'm not a big Fozzy fan or anything. I like the songs, that's it. But come on.
It was part of the VIP experience that these people paid to be there at the sound check. So not many people may have bought in the VIP experience. This is also in Germany. I don't know how big Fozzy is in Germany. And I don't know how much the VIP experience costs somebody either, so.
I'm just saying I would buy it more as a sound check than the actual concert.
No, yes, I think it's a VIP
I'd buy it as a
sound
concert.
check. But yeah, well, we know how you feel about. Hi guys. Even appeared on Dynamite, and Mr. Z started to cry. He's like, "No, please." No. Anyways, we won't go there. We won't go there live. We'll get kicked out, kicked off. Bye. Adios.
Not today. Not today. Not today.
It's a lot of talk about the future of WWE Survivor Series. Let's talk about Survivor Series. Survivor Series used to be one of the great big four pay-per-views for WWE back in the day, starting with the original one, which featured multiple 5-on-5 matches. Of course, there was I believe a 5 versus 5 tag team, so it was 10-on-10 tag team matches, the very first Survivor Series, and the rest of the teams were 5 men against 5 men in these teams. And every year we build out the Survivor Series with people building their teams, whether it was Hogan's Hulkamaniacs or the Heenan family, or whether it was the $1 Million Team or the Dream Team or all these different teams. Back in the day, Survivor Series used to be something to have great grandeur. It used to really feel like one of the big 4 pay-per-views that WWE put out. It was where some of the biggest names of professional wrestling have debuted for WWE, including names like Rocky Johnson, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, then known as Rocky Maivia. The Undertaker debuted on there. The legend himself, the Gobbledygooker, made his debut. Plus, many other stars have made their debut at Survivor Series throughout the years. Now, originally, it was 5-on-5. The next year, we saw 4-on-4 teams. And eventually, that dwindled away. Slowly, we started defending titles and having some multi-man tag team events. And then eventually, just all went away. Then we kind of brought a bragging rights concept where Survivor Series became SmackDown versus Raw for many, many years, which really just kind of killed the Survivor Series feel and vibe of what Survivor Series was. It was something different. It was something entertaining. Suddenly, we finally got to the point where Triple H won in bringing back War Games. He did it on NXT, and eventually Vince redacted himself, eventually understood what War Games could do, and he allowed it on the big brand, and now Triple H is running things and is going to push to continue the War Games, which has put Survivor Series back on that big 4 list, where we actually are excited because War Games is a fun time. A 4-on-4 or a 5-on-5. You get 1 women's War Games match, 1 men's War Game match, with other matches in between. Now, I sure would love to have a traditional either 5-on-5, 4-on-4 match at War Games, at Survivor Series. That wasn't necessarily in the cage. That was, single elimination. You get pinned, you get eliminated, you move, and everything. But I don't know if we need too many of them, because it then might hinder the aspect of what War Games is. So it's like, what is the balance between Survivor Series? Should we go back to a traditional Survivor Series? Should we stick to Survivor Series being the home of War Games? Could War Games be pulled to another pay-per-view and stand on its own? Or would War Games feel too much like a Survivor Series event, and it's best on Survivor Series? My feeling is I like where War Games is. I think it brings back the prestigiousness of Survivor Series. It gives us a little bit of what the old school Survivor Series it was, with a twist. And I think I'm happy with where we've come with Survivor Series. Do I miss the traditional Survivor Series? Sure. But I think we're happy. I'm happy with where it is right now. War Games. But Mr. Clark, what do you think of old school Survivor Series? Do you think we should bring it back? Do you think War Games and Survivor Series is the right thing? How do you feel about it all?
Get it more like I almost want to do a hybrid. What I mean is, you have the one War Games for the women with the one War Games for the men, and then do one traditional Survivor Series match that like you built up to the same way that you would with the War Games, that you build up to it. So you have two teams for whatever reason, whatever the story is. And this is something you could do annually, just like you did the old Survivor Series, or just like you do War Games. So it's like if you do it, once a year. And yes, it's like both War Games and the traditional Survivor Series are kind of similar as far as the tag team mechanics, but I think you're giving credence to WWF/WWE lore, as well as bringing forward to what War Games has always been.
So you could say, like, this year we could put the Bloodline Civil War in War Games, Roman OTC versus Solo, put those two in a War Games match because that defeats it. But then you could take a group or a stable like Judgment Day, put them against Damian Priest and his 4 or 5 cohorts, and have a traditional Survivor Series match with a storyline still built into it.
Absolutely. And that's the thing about the multi-man tag matches, is that you either finish a storyline or you start a storyline there, or maybe a little bit of both. I mean, you got 8 guys you're dealing with, so
Very,
you
very
can kind of
true.
play with it and see what happens.
Mr. Z, your thoughts on a traditional War Games versus NXT concept?
I'm all for it. Like an NXT, like a War Games of like NXT versus WWE would be solid, but I feel to an extent like maybe it should be, if they want to do something like that, bring it back to a traditional Survivor Series style match. I mean, it's just for the safe haven of no one getting hurt. I mean, we know WWE is the safest place to work. Just want to make sure that the younger talent don't get hurt.
Safest place to work. Kind of an oxymoron in professional wrestling to say this is the safest place to work, I think. I mean, I don't know how anybody can complain where any wrestling company is a safe place to work.
Well, it's not SPW. I mean, obviously, take you for example. Let's not go there.
And not every wrestler can work like The Miz, the safe method.
I guess also going on tonight is Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling's big event is taking place tonight. Forge of Excellence, or Forge of Excellence, yes. Big event. Mauro Ronaldo returning to the wrestling commentary booth at this event. It's going to be something very, very special to see if you're watching that. Sounds like a good time. A lot of news coming out about WWE's writing team, that the history and the foul mouth and all the different things about the writers in the backstage, how they were treated, how this talk was disgusting back there. It seems like a lot of stuff is coming out from the writing team, a lot of the old school backstage stuff. It seems like everything that Vince kept covered up in the back is coming to light. And I guess it goes to the old saying, everything you do in the darkness eventually comes into the light. But it looks like a lot of stuff keeps leaking out about the past behaviors of WWE, the writing team, the way they lived their lives in constant fear when Vince was around, and a culture that was created in this. What have you gentlemen heard about this, and how do you feel about it?
If you watch enough shoot videos over the years, you kind of get a feel for what the culture was, but it's still not really confirmed because it's individual accounts, and I heard sometimes, or and these are coming from wrestlers, sometimes other producers or whatever. I don't know. I'm not there, so I really can't, make any kind of official commentary. But by the same token, it's are we surprised?
No.
I'd kind of 50-50. I'd kind of 50-50 it. I mean, you heard the stories of him of Redacted showing up and tearing apart a show before it even went on the air. Hey, rewrite it. So I'd I'd believe it, but it's still hearsay until we finally get someone to like stand firm and come out and just say, "Hey, this is how bad it was. This is how I felt during the time working there." And maybe it could be someone that made it how he acted made them lose their love for writing. So until someone comes out and says it, I'm just saying it's all hearsay for me right now.
But
No,
by the
let's-
same token, the fact that enough of these stories are out there, it's like where there's smoke, there's fire. So that's why it's like I understand you 50-50 believe in it. Fair.
Yeah.
But it's like that means there's 50% that is true. That is like very likely to be true. So
Well, that's why I brought up the fact of him going there, showing up, tearing apart a show an hour before it goes on the air. That's why I said it's a
people have said
50-50
that.
shot. Yeah.
Well, moving from behind the scenes to the front of the scenes, we're going to talk about the voice of WWE. Did anybody notice that Michael Cole was missing from commentary on SmackDown? Michael Cole is only missed.
Yeah, they said he was on special assignment, whatever that meant.
Michael Cole's only missed 3 televised shows in his career with WWE. And it was announced today that Michael Cole has signed a long-term deal to stay with WWE and continue to be the voice of WWE and begin the coaching of the future voices of WWE like Wade Barrett, Corey Graves, his good buddy and friend Pat McAfee, along with many of the other names that are coming in and out of the brand to find their place within the WWE. Also with that, Michael Cole was not on SmackDown this past week. As it was revealed, he was on a family vacation to Cozumel. He took a 10-day vacation to Cozumel with the family, so he was on special assignment in Mexico. Finally good to see Michael Cole taking some vacation time off, that knowing that he's able to leave and that the show will still be decent in commentary, that his presence always doesn't need to be there. But after being there for almost 30 years, I think we're coming up on. I mean, it's just amazing that he's only missed 3 episodes of televised program.
Right.
I mean, hell, he went from the running joke in the back, DX's favorite play toy, someone to mess with, to being the voice over the years, having his name up there with a Jim Ross, a Bobby Heenan, a Gorilla Monsoon, Tony Schiavone when he was great, Mike Tenay. Like, he's got his name up there. I mean, he deserves that vacation.
You're forgetting somebody.
Absolutely.
You're forgetting somebody, New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Kevin Kelly.
Okay, yes. You want to get that interview with him, you better give him a high praise, because Kevin Kelly was a pretty decent one, especially over in New Japan, from what I understand. But yeah, a lot of great names, and we can't forget one of the great commentary names that was there. I mean, the one that's returning, that just recently signed a nostalgia deal with WWE, and will help be one of the voices of Saturday Night Main Event, and Jesse the Body Ventura. Now, I don't know how many people go back in the day, but Jesse the Body Ventura on a mic, whether it was WWE or WCW, always added an extra flavor and flair to any wrestling event. And of course, we're going to talk about WCW. We got to go back into the day today and talk about the legend that Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels and so many others sing the high praises of, Gordon Solie.
Oh yeah, you can't forget him. Can't forget him at all.
Moving along, WWE is yet to determine the length of Raw after its Netflix move. A lot of talk has happened in and out of the years. It was announced sometime in late August, early September, that WWE Raw, after the October 7th show, would revert to a 2-hour format, leaving behind the decades-long history of 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. Originally started because WCW decided to go on 1 hour earlier and give us 3 hours. Nitro set the tone, and eventually Raw picked up that gauntlet and ran with it. And it's been over a decade or so, or plus. It's been 20 plus years that WWE's been running a 3-hour show on Monday nights. And right now, it doesn't seem like there is a for sure instance that when they go on the Netflix starting in January of 2025, whether the show will be 3 hours or not. There is still talks about Friday Night SmackDown becoming a 3 hours length for 6 months, but we will have to see what happens. It will run for 3 hours for 6 months and revert back to 2 hours for the next 6 months. I don't know what that's about, but a lot of talk. I don't know. It's interesting. I think either show could go 3 hours. I don't know if they necessarily need to go 3 hours. I know AEW television never needs to go 3 hours. They already try to play that game some nights with Collision and Battle in the Belts or Dynamite and an extra hour show afterwards. It's adjust their programming, and it's kind of like, yeah. But anyways, what is your gentleman's thoughts on 3 hours of WWE programming? Do you want to see Raw go back to 3 hours? Do you want to see SmackDown go to 3 hours? Do you think both shows should stay at 2 hours? Should both shows be 3 hours? Should we have 6 hours of WWE programming on the main roster with 2 hours of NXT, giving you 8 hours of professional wrestling from WWE each and every week? And that's not even counting a pay-per-view bit. And then you got the 5 hours of AEW TV that exists right now, the 2 hours of TNA, the hour of Ring of Honor, the hour of NWA Power, and if you're really lucky, you might pick up OVW and many other small feds that exist out there, let alone you can go watch a GCW show, or you can go check out your local independent show and go see some live independent wrestling. Or you can tune into the Value Wrestling because you don't know where you might see independent wrestling right here. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Well, I'm 40 years old, so I'm all for 2 hours here, 2 hours there. I have a bedtime, so to speak.
All right, Grandpa.
Hey, that's fine with me.
That
My
tasty
dad's.
toast.
Yes.
No.
Grandpa Tozy.
I've learned.
Grandpa Tozies.
Grandpa Dozy.
Grandpa Tozies.
But no,
Grandpa Tozies. Grandpa Tozies. Go ahead.
Horrible. But I mean, honestly, 3 hours or like you said, 8 hours of WWE programming, I would honestly feel is too much. I mean, hell, we dealt with the well over a decade of 3 hours Raw, and if you weren't watching it East Coast time, you're up till 11:15 at the latest.
Well, but if you're on the East Coast, you will watch. If you're watching on the East Coast live at 8 p.m., it's still going to 11 p.m. It's just because you're on the West Coast and know how to feed the East Coast version. So,
right, but I like it. I'm kind of enjoying the 2 hour Raw.
But again, when Raw goes to Netflix, it's going to air for everybody at that same time. So that'll be the good thing there.
Well, then that's different. That would be the best case scenario. But if they were trying to still do the West Coast 3 hours, sometimes that's just too much.
Mr. Clark, your thoughts?
You end up like Mr. Clark taking a nap during a match.
Here's the thing. With 3 hour Raws, you get to see potentially more of the talent. But with 2 hour Raws, the story beats are stronger. So it's like, how do you balance all that out? Because when you have 3 hours, you have to fill that time. You either have to make the matches longer or you put more talent on just to, make sure that that time is filled. But I've been enjoying the 2 hour Raws again because, like I said, the story beats are strong. You're in, you're out. We're on to the next thing. Until the next episode, then we do it all over again.
That's because he doesn't follow.
So it's kind of hard for me to say which one is better. I suppose they have to figure out a formula which method makes them more money. And that's probably what they're going to figure out and decide on.
And 3 hours for Mr. Clark also means he doesn't have to worry about falling asleep in that third hour. Of course, if Dynamite went 3 hours, they'd be screwed because Mr. Clark could barely make the first 30 minutes of AEW without going, huh, what?
If they ain't putting Deonna Purrazzo on in that first half hour, we screwed.
So Big Dan has huge support on Lenny. Go ahead.
I was going to say they put on Nyla Rose instead for a change of pace.
And ladies and gentlemen, there's your Tasty Toes moment of the night. Big name getting big push to land a WWE contract. Could we see another member of the Bloodline family joining WWE very soon? Well, there is a big push by a lot of members inside the Bloodline and outside for WWE to sign the one, the only Zilla Fatu. I think Zilla Fatu would be a great addition to the WWE roster. I think he'd be a great name to add into it. We know Hikuleo is signed. Rumors is he's going to the NXT roster for the meantime. What could that mean in the future? Could we see Zilla Fatu in NXT? Would he go to the main roster? Would he interject himself in the Bloodline story that we thought was in the 7th inning, then got pushed back to what looks like the 3rd ending of Game 4 of the World Series in a 7-game classic? I don't know. Anyways, gentlemen, how are your feelings about the one and only Zilla Fatu? We'll lay it to Mr. Clark first, because I know Mr. Z will have a lot to talk about when it comes to Zilla Fatu.
First of all, I actually think if Zilla actually gets signed, I think he should be working both NXT and main roster, so we can constantly get his reps in. That's one thing. The other thing is I'm a little worried just based on his reputation about missing independent shows. That's not necessarily a red flag, depending upon the reasons for it, but it's still a little alarming from a professional perspective. Now, as far as potential, that man to me can be in storyline and we'll have fun with it. He's, for the time that he's been in the industry, he's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, he can contribute for sure.
Mr. Z.
I have a little bit of a red flag though on his reputation.
Mr. Z, your thoughts on Zilla Fatu?
I'm with Mr. Clark on the red flag. There has been reports of him missing independent dates for one reason or another. That is what it is. I'm not a part of his personal life, so I don't know what's going on. But bringing him and the athletic ability that he has to the table is great. I mean, the man has had tag team history with a Jacob Fatu. So if you want Jacob Fatu to have a suitable, a nice partner, that'd be the man to bring in. I'm like Mr. Clark. Is it really going to be worth it? Can they fine tune this man to where he can work the WWE schedule with no issues?
Breaking news, QT Marshall attacks. I can't quite tell who Bully Ray was facing at Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, but Bully Ray got put through a table in a table match. QT Marshall, with the referee down, knocks out his opponent, pulls Bully Ray off the table, and puts his opponent on the table, so the referee awakes and sees that he had gone through the table, awarding the match to Bully Ray. QT Marshall giving the assist to Bully Ray.
Wow.
That's probably more of a one-off.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's something that continues with them, Maple Leaf Pro, but because they got a night 2 coming up.
Unflattering pictures coming out from 10/19 tonight's Collision taping. AEW launched Collision, and it's been an interesting show as it started off, but it recently did do a taping at the Adventist Health Arena in Stockton, California, which is home to Stockton Con, and Stockton Con will be returning to the Stockton Arena, the Adventist Health Arena, on February 15th and 16th of 2025. The Value Wrestling will definitely be there at Stockton Con Winter Edition. But anyways, AEW did a tape Collision on October 17th, which aired tonight. The capacity for the arena was set at 12,000, but AEW Collision was set up for 2,614 tickets and only managed to sell 2,285 as per WrestleTix. A less than favorable set of images has now surfaced showing a significant number of empty seats during Guess Who's segment. Yes, the one and only, who thinks he's the greatest stuff on earth, Ricochet. But people saying that AEW's recent storyline with Moxley looking like a WCW NWO storyline, while other people say AEW's attendance looks like WCW 2000 attendance numbers. I. And I can confirm that the attendance isn't great, as me and Mr. Z went to AEW Dynamite in San Jose at the SAP Center on Wednesday night. Now, we showed a video in the very beginning when Ring of Honor was on. People were still at the merch stands. People were still filing in, and the building was fairly empty. The seats did not fill up very much, but people were jumping seats constantly. People were not sitting in their proper seats and moving down to get closer to the action, which is, fine. If people aren't there and you're finding an open seat, go for it. But there was spatterings of open seats, and most of the arena, I would say over half the arena, was blacked out. All the upper section of the bowl was blacked out, and the far side of the arena was a quarter shut out for camera crew and a clock, and so a lot of the arena was shut off. It was not a very big crowd at the SAP Center, and obviously at the Stockton Arena, which is huge. And if you people go check out any of our videos from Stockton Con, you'll see that's a pretty sizable arena there in Stockton. It's a sizable arena for Stockton. That's just a matter of fact. If you're from Stockton and you go in that building, you're like, this is a pretty damn big arena for a city like Stockton that doesn't have a major sports team in the NFL, the MLB, or the NBA, or the NHL. Now, they have, B-League NBA with the Stockton Knights. They had hockey. I don't know if they still have hockey there. So they had minor leagues. They had minor league teams, and I believe they started, or they have an indoor football arena team in Stockton. But this arena is a pretty good sized arena for a city like Stockton. So to see it pretty empty is definitely a stark contrast. But nothing new with the AEW.
This picture that I see, it looks like Ricochet's in the ring. That is the Stockton Arena, and damn,
Yes.
just damn, wow. 3 guys and a clock. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, in surprising news right now taking place, Scott D'Amore and Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling is bringing you Forged in Excellence event, and it has been reported that Jimmy Jacobs, former AEW creative team member Jimmy Jacobs, has been spotted at the show. MLP sources respond that the role was simply being a Jimmy. Does he have a role in the company? We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. He just recently left AEW for who knows what reasons. Really, it's been speculative. It's caused frictions between wrestlers and podcasters. But very, very interesting stuff there. AEW Dynamite took place on this Wednesday, October 17th, live from the SAP Center in San Jose, California. Me and the big man were there live in attendance. We took some videos and pokes. It was Misery Loves Company. We talked to several people in the attendance. We talked to people outside the arena when we got there. We talked to people in the merch line. And a lot of people agreed with our findings that AEW is not what it used to be, that it once had something special, and now it's just kind of floundering lost. Not that these fans don't want to love AEW. They're just like, blah. Now, AEW, this show opened with a couple matches taped for Ring of Honor. Then we went into the 2-hour Dynamite show, which had its highs and lows. More lows than highs. And vaguely, I don't remember a lot of it. I know Mercedes Moné defended her belt. And anybody who thinks that CEO chant is the crowd, I'm here to tell you, it was not. She got a slight chant, but very, very minimal. It was not anything special. Okada got a decent chance, but being in the Bay Area where New Japan Pro Wrestling is big and heavy and making a lot of push into the United States, there was a lot of fans there loving Okada and the Bucks, but it was a lot of related to New Japan. And other than that, the pops weren't loud. They weren't big. The loudest boo of the night probably had to go to Don Callis and Don Callis family with Brian Cage, and the watered down, and I no disrespect to the Murder Hawk Lance Archer, who we love and support here on the Value Wrestling, but a lot of people have referred to him as a watered down or Temu version of Drew McIntyre. And the comparable pictures are pretty bad when you see them side by side. I don't know what happened to Murder Hawk Monster. I don't know who decided this look. It was not a good look Lance, I absolutely love you, respect you dearly. We'd love for you to sign your name onto the Choppy Choppy Hall of Fame. The big man is always ready. We'd love to make that connection. We'd love to sit down and have a conversation with you. I do not mean this in any way of being disrespectful, but it was not a great look. It took me a minute to even figure out it was you, because all I could see was Brian Cage out there with Don Callis, which is more confusing than understandable. And then when Mr. Z's like, yeah, that's Lance Archer, he said it in a very way of not disrespectful, but just very like, yeah, that's Lance Archer. Very disappointed. But the biggest boos were for Don Callis of the night. The biggest cheers go for.
And
Go ahead.
real quick, don't forget the Temu version of Orange Cassidy, a Kyle Fletcher.
Well, that's all part of the Don Callis family. I mean, that was all of that whole group.
Yeah.
But
he didn't even look right. I was just like, why
the
are you ripping off Orange Cassidy?
1980s Adventures in Babysitting movie called and wants their look back. The Gremlins thought they took out Kyle Fletcher in the Gremlins sequel. I mean, he was dressed like some 1980s teen bopper. I don't know if he was walking across any of the old railroad tracks and singing, "Darling, darling, stand by me." I don't know. Maybe he just came down from Astoria, Oregon, and thought he was reenacting the Goonies. I guess he heard I guess they're making a sequel to the Goonies this day and age. I guess he was trying to make his best audition, because that's all I saw.
Yeah.
Anyways, the biggest cheer of the night came for Bob. Who's Bob? Well, Bob is the ring hand man who Justin Roberts, the Dapper Yapper, got over for the crowd. He was getting more chance throughout the night, not just when they introduced him. And then eventually had to bring him up to the ring to get the loudest chance in the building. The kids were going wild for Bob. That was the biggest pop. This show was just no good. They ended Dynamite with a Christian Cage versus Switchblade at Jay White. In a decent match, Jay White getting a nice love. Again, the New Japan connection there. But what a funky finish when Kip Sabian showed up. Started to look like he was going to get in the ring, then backed off, then ran to the ring again, backed off. Hangman came down, then he backed off and fell off the mat. You were there, you didn't really know what was going on. I mean, you knew what was going to come of it, but you were like, kind of like, okay, none of this makes sense. Eventually, Hangman cost Jay White the match with Christian, so we can continue a feud between Jay White and the Hangman for whatever reason. Christian gets the win over Jay White. Then we went into an hour of Rampage where I think we saw Private Party versus MXM. We saw the Butcher against Mark Briscoe. And Anna Jay, of course, was on that show, which was nice to see Anna Jay in person, but was just not anything special. If you watched Rampage last night, you know what it was all about. Then they went back to Ring of Honor for another hour of Ring of Honor, and we were just dead. The crowd was dead. After Dynamite, half the audience completely left, and they came out begging people, do not leave, we got more action for you. Let alone every break we had, Tony Khan came out and decided that he needed to not talk, but yell at all of us. I mean, he literally was like, we're going to do it again, and we're here, we're going to have fun, stay with us. And of course, he pulled his classic joke about being in two places at the same time, like that 5-year-old that tells that joke that first time and gets the big laugh because everybody laughs. And so he leaves, and the next time everybody's around, he tells the same joke, and you're like, yay, yeah, it's good. And then the third time, you're kind of like, all right, Timmy, it was funny. Yeah, it was funny. And the fourth time, you're like, okay, Timmy, killing a joke, Timmy. Tony Khan out here celebrating Time Cop. Mr. Z did not believe me when I said that he did this, that he had two mics originally. I had to find the video and show it to Mr. Z. He was floored when he originally saw the video, but you should see the look on Mr. Z's face in attendance at the show when this fool came out and did it in person, and they put Time Cop on the video screen. He laughed and cried so hard he had to run to the bathroom.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I missed Time Cop, which really sucked.
AEW is a hot mess. This show was, it was unbearable at points. The crowd was dead. The vibe's not there. I went to WWE SmackDown and came out feeling hyped and alive, and the energy in that crowd was lively. That place was packed to the brim. I go to an AEW show, and I'm just kind of like, Blah. Mr. C, you were there. Tell us what you
Now,
thought.
well, now that everyone accuses us of bashing AEW, how we hate AEW, we want it to burn to the ground. That's not it. That's not the point. When you have your own fan base, that loyal AEW fans like we met in San Jose, that want it to succeed, that know it could be better, and they're disappointed. It's like, okay, now this is your fan base, and they're saying the same things we are. That's a problem.
Hmm?
So I mean, even like even as goes far as like those who went to Stockton, and I've been to Stockton when that house is packed for a hockey game. I've been there when WWE sells it out, and to know that AEW went to a smaller arena than the SAP arena, than the SAP Center, and don't pack it out, that is a problem.
Well, and I don't feel there was that
Stockton
many.
is a nice halfway point. Because I was going to say Stockton is a nice halfway point for North and Southern California. You know, your fans could have came to see it, and it just they couldn't hold it. It's embarrassing. The fact that Tony Khan doesn't think that's embarrassing is a problem.
I don't know if I quite agree with you that Stockton's a midway point between North and Southern California. I'd probably say Fresno is more likely your middle point, but to each his own, and I get what you're saying, but I mean, you know, the other interesting fact, it sure didn't feel like there was a lot of sickos at the SAP Center in San Jose. And San Jose being in the Bay Area, and the Bay Area being a hotbed for professional wrestling, all the way back into the heydays of big-time wrestling, and even the wrestling that The Rock's grandmother ran, and the big events that ran through there. Why a lot of the Samoans live in the Bay Area is because they came with, you know, from there and wrestled with Hawaiian wrestling, and all that, and came through there. A lot of history. There's a lot of history in the Bay Area with professional wrestling. The Cow Palace is legendary place for professional wrestling. And Tony Khan goes into San Jose, into the beautiful SAP Center, where WWE sold it out for Monday Night Raw. They've, you know, packed the Levi's Stadium for WrestleManias. WWE knows how to blow it out, and Tony Khan comes in, and it feels like I don't know, it felt like a TED Talk at times. It was horrible. It was just not fun. I didn't walk away, for the first time in my life ever, walking away from a wrestling show. I was just kind of like, I want to get home. I'm tired. I'm bored. And that says a lot.
It's like I've told you guys, I went to the Dynamite in Stockton, and that's coming off of a weekend going to SmackDown prior. And you can tell a huge difference production-wise, sound quality-wise, and then the vibe of the fans. Going to a WWE show, you're high-fiving the world out there. Everyone's jumping, having a great time. You go to an AEW show, and everyone's just kind of on their own. It's like the island of misfit toys. It's not good.
No. And I just did the recent thing. I went to the SmackDown show in September, and here, not even a month later, I was at AEW Dynamite. And the difference is night and day. I mean, it's huge. A packed house at WWE. The fans are screaming. Everybody's popping. It's loud. It's boisterous. You walk out of there feeling energized, excited. And you have a merchandise line that wraps away around half the building. AEW's merchandise, which I did buy an MJF shirt because it was about the only nice piece of merchandise they had there. I think we stood in that line for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Takeshita's international title run starts off with a banger as he takes on Speedball at Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling's Forge in Excellence.
Ooh.
Takeshita, and just this little video looking like a bad mamma jamma. I haven't seen this Takeshita on AEW TV. Why am I not seeing this Takeshita?
That's the Takeshita I seen in the G1. That's why. And you ain't
But
gonna see him.
But why are they so vastly different? If it's the same person who's doing the same wrestling moves, why does he look like a bad jamma here pulling it off in the ring, but he gets into AEW and he just, or is it just because they haven't given us a reason to care? Why would it?
Did you
Why
care
was
the
he
whole time we were
almost?
there?
Why was he almost the winner of the G1 Climax? He came very close to winning that G1.
Yes.
But he goes back to AEW.
I don't know.
I mean, yes, he is the new international champion, but
Oh, and he's using the V trigger? Nice.
I mean, he has some splendid moves that I haven't seen him
Yeah.
do in AEW. I mean, he did that spinning at the beginning of this video.
Oh! Oh! The corkscrew Michinoku driver.
Yes.
Wow.
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay. Well, why aren't we seeing this on Wednesdays?
The mouth guard's out.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, it's
damn.
just impressive. Yeah. I mean, that's a. I mean, why wouldn't you have
Night
Takeshi
and
like
day,
that?
like you said. Wow. That's insane. Like, yeah. Tony, we know you follow us. You need to start paying attention to how your boys are outside of your organization because that looked damn good. Well,
Yeah.
now Mike Bailey's, A1 in my book. That's a solid dude too.
Mike Speedball Bailey giving us a damn good match against Takeshna.
Yeah.
I believe pro wrestling, but he just got out of the ring with the best in the world in Will Ospreay and Ricochet, which was a decent match. I'm not taking anything away from it, but I mean, this even looks more impactful. Ladies and gentlemen, looks like WWE is ready for the big return. The next big thing might be the next big thing on its way back. Are we ready for Brock Lesnar to return to WWE? How do you feel about Brock Lesnar coming back? Where do you see Brock Lesnar fitting into this? How do you feel about people talking about Roman Reigns calling on Brock Lesnar to help him out because Brock Lesnar is going to come help Roman Reigns defend the honor of Paul Heyman? But anyways, there's a lot of speculation, but Brock Lesnar looks like he may be on his way back to the WWE. Cool, let's bring him back. You got to build him back up a little bit, but I mean, let's see what he can do. I don't think there's much time left on that. I don't think there's much time left on Lesnar. Not necessarily that he might not be able to go, but I don't know how much you have left in storylines to do with Lesnar. Now, if you got Shinsuke Nakamura built up right, I'd love to see Shinsuke Nakamura and Brock Lesnar tied up. Braun Breaker would be a great opponent for Braun Breaker would be a great opponent for Brock Lesnar if they build it all right. I'd love to see Brock Lesnar tied up with CM Punk one last time. Brock Lesnar versus John Cena on John Cena's retirement tour could be a great match. There's stuff for Brock Lesnar to do, but I don't know how much it's really left that you can get out of Brock Lesnar in the WWE. Just because it's like, what is left for him to do? Could you make him a champion again? Yeah. Do we really need to see it? No. If they use him sparingly, I think they can extend his lifespan in WWE. But if they overuse him, I don't know if we have a whole lot of time of Brock Lesnar really being around. What is your thoughts on Brock Lesnar, gentlemen?
Well, Brock Lesnar, his name value alone draws a house. First and foremost, it'd make money. But I'm kind of with you on this one. You need to build him slowly and gear him in the right direction. Where is his rub going to benefit most? That's how I would see it. If you're going to bring him back for one more round, let him go on this one last ride. Pick and choose who that rub's going to. Who is it going to benefit?
I would love to
Is it
see.
going to benefit a Braun Breaker, a Gunther?
Yeah.
I mean, him and Shinsuke, for you New Japan fans, I'm all for it. Let's see it.
I'd love to see him and AJ Styles tied up if we can get AJ Styles healthy before he's completely done.
That's true too. I mean, but then again, I want to see AJ do one final run at TNA before he's done. So
I don't think we're going to get that, unfortunately.
yeah, I know, but it's wishful thinking.
Mr. Clark.
But yeah.
If this is actually happening, it also means I assumed whatever investigation has gone on, WWE has cleared him as far as any possible legal matters. If that's the case, I'm down for bringing Lesnar back. I just don't want any bad publicity for the company.
Yeah.
They already got enough going on thanks to the former owner. I kind of agree with you guys. Use them sparingly, make it count. Because, like you said, he can still go, but storyline wise, there's only so many interesting possibilities, and there are some, but this is not a week in week out
Yes.
type performance.
Can't use him like Will Ospreay, that's for sure.
Oh. Well, what happened to that grind that he
Tell
didn't
me
want to do?
when I'm telling lies. Anyway, speaking of AJ Styles, looks like AJ Styles pretty serious injury, and he may have burned up his last chance. We do not know right now what is the future of AJ Styles. He's got to heal up, but even if AJ's capable of getting back in the ring, he's probably not going to be the same AJ, and there may not be a whole lot of time left on AJ's career. His body of work seems to be coming at an end, to even just AJ's own words, that he doesn't have much left to live. Unfortunately, he had just returned and suffered a horrible injury. He's going to be out for some time. And even his own words, he doesn't know. He may be done. It may be time to hang up the boots. We may not get that last run with AJ that they had planned. A lot of talks about an AJ John Cena match. AJ going through a lot. AJ coming back as a strong baby face. It's sad to see AJ go down this way. That's why I say I don't think we're going to see AJ do a TNA run. And of course, AJ's pretty much said he's going to retire in WWE. Now, could if he was healthy, could do a match and could be linked to TNA, I could see WWE doing that for a one opportunity, but it's got to be a big payoff. It's got to be somebody in TNA that is huge. I don't know if, well, I mean, maybe a Joe Hendry, maybe a Nick Nemeth, maybe come on, Mr. Clark, you know some of the big names in TNA. Who would benefit?
Alexander?
Yeah, Josh Alexander. I mean, there's not a whole lot of names in TNA that would really benefit from a returning AJ to TNA match. There's a few, not a whole lot, but I think it would be, you would have to make it really, really count.
Mm-hmm.
I would go as far as can we get a Shinsuke AJ match without Redacted screwing that up?
I don't know. It'd be a great match. It would be a great match to see. I would love to see AJ and Finn Balor tie it up again. I'd love to see AJ, and I'd even love to see Kenny Omega leave WWE or leave AEW and come to WWE, and love to see him work with Finn Balor and AJ. Talk about Bullet Club history. So I mean, hopefully AJ heals and recovers, and we can get one last run. But a lot of what I'm hearing from even AJ's own mouth, it seems like he may have burnt his last road, his last path. We don't know.
It's sad.
It is.
That is sad. And I'm a big AJ mark too. I seen his run at Bullet Club. I followed that run. Oh, that hurts. That really hurts.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. I see 7 people in the chat, but only 4 likes. Make sure you hit that like button. Go ahead, Mr. Clark.
The house that AJ Styles built was TNA.
Yes.
So it's like, yes, he had a great run in New Japan. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing that in any way. But I mean, I've been watching this guy since the beginning of TNA.
I remember having a conversation with Christopher Daniels at the Fat Cat for a Pro Wrestling Bushido show, and all we talked about was his series with AJ Styles. He was shocked that us in California knew who AJ Styles was.
Well, and we can go way back that AJ Styles almost became a WWE superstar in about 2001, 2002, because he was under a WCW contract, but they didn't pick up his contract. So would have AJ had a different path if he would have wound up in WWE after briefly his showing in WCW. But again, I guess we got to be happy and proud that he had the run and made his name in TNA, New Japan, to finally wind up on the WWE roster. And for you AEW sickos, he's not coming to AEW. He's already told you he's retiring in WWE. Those are his words. You don't got to take it out of my mouth. Those are just facts.
A bit of trivia. Does anyone remember Air Styles' tag team partner in WCW? Remember the name?
Oh, Christian York?
Nope.
I you got to throw the talent on that for me.
They named him Air Paris.
Yes, that's it.
Wow. Okay.
And I think the only real reason why I remember that is because them coming out with a cruiserweight tag team division and then seeing what they could do was like, hey, this is interesting towards, the end of WCW's run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is why, like I said before, as much as we like to kind of pound it in on AEW so much, and it's not in a bad way. It's we want them to be better, so we get people to get better, and they have another place to go if the machine doesn't want them to, if what doesn't want to sign them, or if they don't want to go,
Hey,
have an option where to go.
there's a lot of other places right now. AEW is not standing alone as the alternative to WWE. They're just
Yeah.
sort of the closest right now. But TNA is making a lot of waves to be in that position too. TNA is probably the biggest threat to AEW. AEW thinks they're a threat to TNA is a bigger threat to AEW than AEW is to WWE. Period. And if you don't like,
the funny what, go ahead. And the funny thing about that is, TNA still sticks with what it knows: smaller venue, more intimate, and sells it out.
TNA is a bigger it's closer to being a bigger threat to AEW than AEW is a threat to WWE, and that's just facts, and that's just truth. Tell me when I'm telling lies. You can't debate that. But let's look at the other names that are out there. GCW with Matt Cardona is making waves. House of Glory is bringing in a lot of names. The Hardy Boys are about to return there. FTR is about to show up there. They're making names. OBW is even making airwaves a name for itself. NWA and NW Power, Billy Corgan making a lot of waves with NWA. So, I mean, there's a lot of companies that I would say are slightly above independent wrestling that have some TV and some networks and some connections or an online presence that are shaking the foundation of professional wrestling, that are a lot closer to AEW and being a threat to AEW than AEW is even to being a threat. I mean, NWA is probably a bigger threat to AEW than AEW is to WWE. And I know the sickos probably don't like that, but that's just a fact. That's just a fact. That's just a hardcore fact.
Yeah, thank you, Billy Corgan. And no, I mean, look at WoW, look at Women of Wrestling. They still have airtime. And you still got a lot of names that come out of there that are stellar. And
honestly, the biggest threat to WWE would probably be New Japan Pro Wrestling.
And they dominantly stay in their lane, so.
Well, and that's true. They stay in their lane and they do what they do. They kind of stay on the West Coast. They've done a few shows on the East Coast, but they're not really trying to overtake or be as dominant as WWE. But they are closer than AEW is to being a threat to WWE. Honestly, I'm sorry. And you sickos don't have to like it. And I'm not trying to bash AEW in that way. It's just a fact that Tony Khan and AEW needs to look at the realistic idea. They think they're competing with WWE, and in a way they're trying, and I get that, but they're really not that big of a threat. And if Tony Khan's not watching behind him, when I can list names like TNA, GCW, NWA that are right there on his toes that could definitely take that spot from him like that, Tony Khan's got to be is so all consumed with what's ahead of him and not paying attention to what's back of him. And I think TNA with the right moves and the right ways could take over that number 2 spot. And now Scott D'Amore with Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, depending on what he does, is going to get a name tossed in there as a company that's going to get renowned attention. I mean, he's already got Takeshita, Speedball, Bailey, and Bully Ray on his show tonight, just to name a few. So, I mean, if you're drawing those names, you're going to draw eyes to your product.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Scott D'Amore has said so far he doesn't know what the future holds as far as is he trying to get his company to be a 52-year-a-week, product, or how he wants to do it. He just says he has some more shows coming up next year.
Yeah.
And next year's coming obviously pretty fast. But I mean, after Scott D'Amore was let go, fired, whatever from TNA, we all have said, what does he do? because that's a mind you want in a company.
Yes.
He's running his own company again. So
Mm-hmm.
there's just potential just for even more competition. But at the same time, like when he was running Border City Wrestling, Scott D'Amore also knows how to stay in his lane and work and ensure that he's making money. Knows he does good business practices, not just I want to compete just to compete for compete's sake.
Yeah.
Like no, he's about his business, and he'll work with it as he can.
No, it's very interesting, but I mean, it's very much Tony Khan needs to think really hard about what's behind him, because Scott D'Amore, if he took Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling to a 52-week a year wrestling, he could get his name in that hat. Scott D'Amore has that name recognition and has those connections that he could bring people in that people are going to tune in. GCW has really came out of nowhere. There was a fan base that GCW is really this era's ECW. Not because of just their extreme content, but they are in that same existence that they came out of nowhere, and now they're kind of in that mainstream level of attention that they're kind of there, and people are going, hey, there's something going on over here. They're kind of the ECW of the modern era.
When you're selling out the 3,200 arena and you've sold out the the Hammerstein Ballroom, just on your name value alone as a company, that's saying something.
Mr. Z, since I think you pay attention to GCW more than I do, to the best of your knowledge, is Mance Warner still their world champion?
No.
I like old
I
Mance.
do not. And he's a solid man. He just worked the other day on this last show that they had. He was in that match where what's her name? Oh my goodness, I cannot think about I can't think of her name, but she turned on Effie. He was in that match with Matt Cardona. Yeah, Slamovich.
Slamovich, who also works in TNA and GCW.
Yes. So I mean, yeah, Matt Warner's still working and is still doing his damn thing, and I'd never complain when he's in the ring. I enjoy it.
I got to see him, when I used to watch MLW a little bit closer. So that's kind of how I came up with him.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Z, you have a busy weekend. Mr. All Business Always Ready. As he's done SmackDown review show, he's doing the weekly Roundup review show. He's going to be with me all day tomorrow. It's an all-day event. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, SPW Ghouls, Frights, and Wrestling Tights. If you tune into Good Day Sacramento, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., you're going to see SPW on the channel. And maybe you'll catch your boys, the Value Wrestling, on Good Day Sacramento. Who knows what'll happen? Tune into that, and then come out to El Grove for SPW's Ghouls, Frights, Wrestling Tonight. The biggest Halloween party going down, the biggest event in SPW this year. You need to be there. A lot of people are going to be there, a lot of names. SPW President Mike Miller is going to be there. Mr. Mike Miller is going to show up. He's going to take questions from the audience. So it's going to be very interesting. The whole SPW Academy is going to be on Good Day Sacramento tomorrow morning. Check that out. And a lot of great matches, top to bottom. Newly announced The Appeal in a tag team match against the High Council. The Appeal and THC going to tie it up in that ring. It should be a great match, and we're going to be there with all the fun action. Don't know what we're going to be doing. We'll keep you postponed. Make sure you turn in for that. Mr. Z's going to cover that. Then he'll be here probably for a Monday Night Raw post-show review, and then he's got New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound podcast he's got to get ready for on Tuesdays right here on the YouTube channel. So, Mr. Z, can you give the fans, the viewers, of why they want to come back at least tomorrow, Monday, and even Tuesday? Tell us what's going on in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Give us a little salt and pepper, season it up, wrap it up nice, serve it to us on a nice platter.
So we got New Japan Pro Wrestling Royal Quest 4 coming to you from London, England. I mean, the card alone is solid. It's not the greatest card that they have had for this, but the matches I want to highlight right out of the gate, we're going to get Drilla Mahoney and Yota Tsuji. We'll have Shota Umino and Callum Newman. Callum Newman has looked great since Will Ospreay has branched away from the United Empire. He's kind of come into his own man, doing his own thing. he's more heelish now, so I'm all for it. Taka Michinoku, David Finlay in a non-title match. You've all heard me talk about Taka Michinoku. The man's still going. I mean, I can't. I want to know what's in his water because damn, I'd like to keep going like that too. The 2 title matches we have for the night. New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Openweight Tag Team Title Match, TMDK, Mikey Nichols, Shane Hayes against El Presidente, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Tomohiro Ishii. Your main event of the night, Zack Sabre Jr., your champion, against Sonata. And folks, you want to be here. You want to come on Tuesday so you can hear all about it. I'll break it all down for you. I mean, like Big Time says, like, you can take that instead of beg, bruv. That's all I got to say. Uh-oh.
Do what?
Bruv, you good?
Bro, I'm always good, bro.
Oh, geez.
Bruv.
Bro.
Bruv.
Bro.
We're going to go again?
Bro, what you got about it, bro? Bro, I'm sorry. I got a little distracted, bro, because I found out some information, bro, about what's going down, bro. Things happen, bro. People had to leave, bro. Stuff changed. Things are changing, bro. It's just the way it goes, bro.
All right, bro. Well, let's keep going. What do you
got?
What's the news?
Bro. No, that's something.
Chacho.
That's something I'll let you know.
Bro, Chacho?
Bro. 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 He went there, bro.
I didn't say nothing.
Hey, bro, it's all good, bro. You can go anywhere which way you want, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your New Japan Rebound Podcast taste sample. It's your Tasty Toes highlight of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Mr. Clark, do you have a Clark report for us this week?
There's not a bad thing.
All right. Tomorrow night, SPW's Ghouls, Ghosts, and Ghouls, Frights, and Wrestling Tights. I swear I can talk. It will be taking place at the Indoor World Soccer Arena in Elk Grove, California, what we call the SPW Arena. You need to be there or not. I don't know what to tell you if you don't show up. You're going to see the man who was on AEW TV tonight on AEW Collision, teaming up and taking on the House of Black, SPW's champion, the undisputed, reigning, defending for over 1 year champion, the Dark Fox Illumide, the Obsidian Adonis. Yes, he was in the ring with Malachi Black and Big Bad Brody King on Collision, which is airing tonight. So go check that out if you haven't. And tomorrow come out to SPW where Illumide will defend the SPW championship against what might be his biggest challenge in the in Jekyll's. And a lot more going on. The costume battle royal going to take place. The appeal taking on the High Council. A four-way extreme match for the SPW Extreme Championship. Jack Tracy versus Bobby Callahan versus Daniel George versus Eliza Hammer. Guadalupe taking on Scoot Robinson. And, of course, the SPW Tag Team Champions. The High Council will be in action with so many more and so many other names ready to show up and show out at SPW Ghouls, Frights, and Wrestling Tights. The president of SPW, Mr. Mike Miller, already put out a video on their Facebook page. Go check out their Facebook page. The link is in the description below to see what he had to say, talking about taking questions from the fans. It's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a crazy night. Come out dressed up in your favorite costume. Join the costume party. It's going to be a fun time. Candy and all types of stuff gives away. The Value Wrestling is going to be there. We're going to have signs. I've told you if you haven't seen on Twitter, we got signs to set up the first ever Sexy Grandpa section. Come out and help us support and grow and create the Sexy Grandpa section. So much other stuff going down. It's going to be crazy once we get it all going, ladies and gentlemen. So come out and check us out. Tomorrow night, 5 p.m. first bell. Doors open at 4:30. Tickets are $20, $15 for 12 and under, I believe it is. You can check the link below. Then you can go to the site Eventbrite to get tickets, or you can buy tickets at the door. Everything is at SPW's Facebook page. So show up, show out, and be ready for the biggest Halloween party this year, period.
Standing room only, folks. Let's make it happen.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I see we have a whole cast of people who came through here. We had 4 likes, but we got 7 people in here. If you like this, be here. Give it a big thumbs up. And we will see you tomorrow night at Ghouls Frights Wrestling Tights. Me and the big man, Mr. Z, are going to be there. We hope you're going to be there too. And we're going to get out of here for now because we got a lot to do. We got to get to sleep. We got to get up bright and early tomorrow to get to this show. It's going to be a long day, folks, so be ready. Gentlemen, tell them good night.
Good
Good night,
folks.
folks.